Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I'm going to talk more about conventions, and the topic about conventions I want to talk to you about is the concept of a swag bag, okay? So, a lot of people, when they go to conventions, when one of the first things that the organizers of the convention will give you is usually a bag full of some of the, things that you need to know about the convention, right? Some souvenirs for the conventions and some promotional material that's usually for the conventions. And they refer to this as the swag bag, okay? So a lot of the, more, modern conventions, they don't have a lot in the bag. Usually it's a small little plastic bag with, some advertisement, for example. So this is one from Anime Evolution. And one of the big key sponsors is the Arts Institute of Vancouver here, AI. And so it's just, a small bag, and basically it'll contain, the basic information of the things going on in the convention, okay? So what would be these things, though? So, for example, here's the con book for the, San Diego Comic-Con of 91. And basically this is the souvenir book for this particular convention. It'll contain various information about the convention, who's, showing up, and some of the guests and that kind of stuff. Some of the major sponsors and that kind of stuff would be all in this sort of, souvenir book, right? Usually also, in addition to that, they'll usually give you a book that contains all the events and that kind of stuff. So what's going on, what panels it in, who's doing talking, maybe some videos and that kind of stuff. It usually contains like a map or some sort of timetable of all the different various events and that kind of stuff. So they usually put it in a separate book so that you look at. Again, maybe some of these modern conventions that are going on. There's so little going on. They could probably all put all that information on like one sheet of paper or one PDF file or whatever. And that would probably handle all the different things that they're doing in a particular convention. So it's maybe pretty small enough that it probably could fit on 1 page or 2 pages paper. Okay, but that would be what a typical con bag would have, and that's probably that's probably what you would get. Okay, now because of the fact that I've been to some of the larger conventions like comic book and Comic Con and whatnot. They'll include some other little things like this. Sometimes they'll can include little promo books like that, little scoops on what's going on. Again, giving you information about different panels and that kind of stuff that's going on. Usually, what they'll do is they'll give you some promotional cards or something like that. This particular card is from an anime called Advanced VG. It's also a PC Engine game. So things like that, they throw that in there, okay? Sometimes, you would also get maybe like a promotional comic book or something. So, going to Comic-Con, they'll have, some sort of promotional comic or something like that. And again, samples of different, artwork and what kind of the things that they're doing. So they just throw that into the bag. So, it'd be easy enough for you to carry all this, small stuff in a bag, okay? And then as you go around the different tables and the stuff in the dealer's room, you can, put your purchases in it. You can also, when you go by a table, you want to grab a business card or something, or maybe there's a piece of paper, outlining some of the information about a particular vendor, a promotional sheet, or maybe just some information about, a particular product that they sell. This is the spec sheet for that. You can grab that and just put it into your bag, okay? Now, in the heyday of conventions, okay, swag bags were a really big thing. Like, obviously nowadays, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of promotions going on, right? There's not very many anime companies even out there that are really actively trying to solicit to the anime fans. So they're not giving lots of stuff, or in this case, swag out to the anime fans. So the bags, are pretty small, and the things that they give you are pretty small. But during the heyday of anime, okay, everybody wanted to get onto this bandwagon called anime. Even the big comic book companies like Marvel and DC wanted to get in there. All these independent comic companies, Antarctic Press, Viz and Bandai and all these other guys were all trying to get money from you. Like they want your business. Okay, so they were willing to put out not only promotional materials, they were giving out lots of free stuff, covers and that kind of stuff. Trying to tell you what some of the new releases coming out are. So they've come out with their own sort of swag bag. So here's an anime swag bag from Bandai. Okay, the big releases of Gundam and that kind of stuff. Anyway, so their new thing that they're releasing at this time was Wolf's Rain. So they got a big swag bag full of Bandai Entertainment called for Wolf's Rain. On the back, it also has a whole bunch of also new animes that are coming out. So they're gonna put it into also to promote it. So Stratus 4, Dragon Drive, and Angel's Tale. Okay, so again, a nice plastic bag, really big size, so you can put lots of stuff in there. As again, when you go around the convention floor, when you buy stuff, then you have a nice bag. You can throw all your stuff in there. You drop by a table and say, "Hey, I like get some more information about your let's say archival comic book bags, or maybe you've got a list of new DVDs that you're coming out with. Then you can just take it and throw it into the bag." Okay. Another really big promotional company that happened at this time is Adv Vision, okay, or Adv Films, okay. They had a really nice, size bag here, okay. Again, to help you carry your stuff. So again, if you drop by their booth, they may have some promo DVDs, or a really popular thing that ADV did was they had the covers of their DVDs. So not the actual DVD itself, but it's just sort of like a promo cover for the DVD, so that if you're interested in that thing, or you want to know what some of the new releases are, they'd put the sample cover of the DVD on the front, and on the back of it they would have the release dates of, let's say, for example, Bubblegum Crisis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8. They'd have the dates and the release dates of those things coming out, so that you'd all know that, hey, if you're interested in this kind of an anime, then you know what times and how much they are, what the product codes are. You can go take those to your local store, video store, or whatever, and say, hey, I want to order these things or whatever. They had it all available, but they gave you a nice big size bag that you can put all this cool stuff in. Okay, now when we're talking the monster of bags, okay, the biggest bags that ever probably came out was the ones that were released by TokyoPop. Okay, now TokyoPop is basically known as the manga sort of anime releaser. As well, some really good deals on some different, independent type of animes. Okay, but they in the heyday of the times, they released probably the largest of the promo bags out there. Now they also released a whole bunch of other stuff, but they were probably one of the they probably took a Comic-Con by surprise, because they had this huge bag, and it was so big. I mean, it's even bigger than this thing. I mean, it's just even a little, a touch bit wider and a little touch bit higher. I don't have any more of those left because they're so hard to come by, and they're really rare that they have them. But I got some pictures of them they're being used. But what had happened is basically everyone, even non-anime fans, loved this bag because it was so big that you can run around the convention floor basically showing off this bag, this TokyoPop bag, and just throwing all your free merchandise and promo stuff and swag and whatever information, that stuff, all into it. Okay, now the other thing that the Comic-Con has that's more unique to Comic-Con than any of the other smaller cons is that they usually have what they refer to as a convention information booth or swag area. Okay, now at Comic-Con, this was underneath the sales, close to where the autograph session is. And basically what it is that it's several tables full of basically basic ads and takeaways and promos and that kind of stuff. So basically you just go up there, and all laid on several tables, probably about 20 or so different tables, a space that you can put your business cards. You can put a page ad of your particular store. Maybe you got a sheet of coupons. I've seen things like restaurants that are in there, and they'll have like a pizza restaurant or something, and they'll have a coupon cut in there. So if you want to order some pizzas during Comic-Con, you can get that. Some people, as independent comic book guys, would put stacks of their promotional comics out there, so you can just come by there and grab promotional comics and that kind of stuff. I remember Viz and TokyoPop had sample manga that you could get. So it's just basically a manga full of short stories and pieces of all the different mangas that are coming out from their particular company. So they would put a stack of that out there, and you can grab those. And so there's some good stories I'll get into about that area, but I won't put it in this episode because I'm going to talk about the swag bag in particular. And not swag itself, so I'll make a different episode of the cool swag that we picked up at these conventions, which is again something that it doesn't happen in the modern day convention because again sponsors don't want to spend any money on new animes and that kind of stuff because they feel that they're not going to get their money or their return back by promoting things. Okay, so but then in the heyday, lots of money was flowing everywhere. And they were basically, really trying to really get your business. Okay, so they weren't worried about giving you a few freebies here and there. So going back to the TokyoPop, then everyone loved using their bags. Now here's the problem: in this world of excess, where we get basically given all this free stuff, free promos, and we just again. The convention floor is so large, you don't have time to think, right? You gotta just go from table to table to table. Just oh yeah, well, I'm interested in your stuff. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't have time to stand here and listen to your big spiel. Just give me your promo material or your information. I'll just grab it and I'll read it later. And so, I go through all the tables and go through. As I said, if you go through table to table, it would probably take you almost a day and a half to go through every single booth in the convention floor. I mean, even me running from booth to booth, kind of skipping over everything, going, yeah, okay, yeah, good, okay, grab it, okay, go next one. Yeah, all right, yeah, I'm not interested in your stuff. Okay, next one. And then so okay, a couple of neat things. Oh, okay, I'll write a few notes down on my little notepad, and I'll come back to you guys afterwards. And it's just going like that. It still took pretty well close to like an entire day, like maybe 5 hours out of a day to go up and down each of the aisles of the convention floor to go through all the different vendors and all that kind of stuff that was at San Diego Comic-Con. Okay, so again, the era of that size of convention, especially for anime, is long gone. But still, this time was really, really special because they gave you this ability to get all this material. So basically, what would happen is that I'd go back to the hotel room halfway through the day, and my entire bag is filled with stuff. I mean, it's got flyers, it's got free comics, it's got free promo stuff. You walk across the table. Oh yeah, here's a. I remember in a previous episode I mentioned I walked by the Hirameki Games booth, which is they make hentai anime games. And they say, well, here's a fan, okay? And you just say, okay, great, thank you. And then you take it and you put it in your bag and just, keep going on to the next booth. And then again, sometime later you would, hopefully look up their stuff or, see what they're all about, okay? And so you'd go back to your room and you get this big pile of stuff, and I've got images of me where I'd be there, and there's all this stuff that we got to the convention, and then of course the big issue is, well, how in the hell I'm going to get all this stuff back to Canada? Because you only got so much room in your bag, you only got so many pounds that you can work with, to get back onto your airplane, or in your case, we did road trips, so that, the weight and the space wasn't a biggest issue. When we took the train, still weight was not as big of an issue, but space might have been an issue. So again, based on that, you really had to kind of then now go, okay, let's see what I grabbed from the convention, and let's sort out, okay, am I ever going to use this stuff? No, let's take it and throw it away. And if we are going to use this stuff, then let's put this away, let's make it look nice, and let's get ready for the trip back to Canada. And again, back across the border. Now, again, that's another episode about crossing the border. I may never make that episode until I'm really old and never need to cross the border again, because some of the stories are probably so outlandish, shall we say, that they probably never let me back in the country. So yeah, no, I'll leave that for another day. But so back to the story. So people would then have to got all this swag and all this cool stuff. They have to go through it and go, okay, what is really actually cool I'm going to keep, or B, this is so crappy or so lame, I'm never going to buy products from this guy, or whatever, or I'm not interested in this kind of stuff, who cares? You start pitching and throwing it away, which leads to the next problem. Now you've generated all this garbage, all right, in your hotel room, or or if you're gonna you're worried about taking the stuff back home with you, you're going, well, I ain't gonna take this stuff home with me, or I'd love to take this stuff home, but I'm not gonna pay for shipping or whatever to get it back home with me, so I'm gonna have to dump it. Well, it just so happens that these bags are so big, and the TokyoPop bags are so big, they also serve very well as a garbage bag. So what ended up happening is that all throughout the convention, San Diego, and of course all over, the hotels and that kind of stuff, people were using these bags as garbage bags. So they're taking all the, empty boxes and all, because usually when let's say for example you buy a figurine and you're going, well, it comes in a box this big, there's no way I'm taking a big box like this on an airplane with me, so I'll just take the contents out, and all the styrofoam and all the packing material and all that stuff, I'll just throw it into the TokyoPop bag, and we'll just take that and we'll use that as our garbage bag. So they're throwing all the crap, the paper, all your packaging, all the plastic wrap and all that stuff, and they're just taking all that with their, with all the food and all the kind of stuff that they take, they're going to throw it in the bag, and then of course they're leaving it all over the place, and of course that's end up, my comment, this is the TokyoPop bags are littering the streets of San Diego. Okay, so that's the sort of funny story that sort of, swag bags are cool up to a point, and then this is when in the age of excess, and this sort of also happens too. So that's my little funny story about the conventions and swag bags. So although in the modern day, and probably in the modern day of at least in terms of anime, we'll probably never ever get to this state ever again. This sort of what we had in the golden era of anime, but it was a good time when we had it. All right. So what you want to do right now is you want to go down below and click like and click subscribe, and you will get more episodes and basically more convention stories as I go through some of this cool stuff that I've gone through in archives. Okay. So until next time, see you again.